gonna say this now. We go right to the spoilers in this episode. And I think if I'm gonna be doing this, like, I'm kind of already doing it, and I kind of plan to now, episode by episode or episodes by episodes. We can't do a non-spoiler really review before it anymore, just because it will get a little redundant. Like, it's based on a whole book, like, what I said in the beginning kind of applies to it continuing on. And so, yeah, I hope you enjoy these reviews. I hope I continue on with them, but like I said, I think I am. It's looking like it. And yeah, so enjoy. Hi
Hey,
everyone. So we just watched the third episode of Percy Jackson. What are your thoughts?
I thought it was pretty. I thought there were things about it that was pretty cool, and
Uh,
they they were in Medusa's lounge, or
loud.
I mean lair. They were in Medusa's
Loud.
lair, and so far they're off to a good start on their journey. And he chose Grover and Annabeth to go along with him, and we shall see the excitements that'll come upon them later.
I I I I thought I was not gonna be okay with them like going right to Medusa's right away, but I'm okay with it. I'm good. Like it worked out. Um, the actress that they chose to play Medusa, she was really good in like The Flash and everything. She's a really good actress. So I was happy that they chose her. I was happy that they kind of modernized it a little bit and like explained her story. Like obviously now people like view it as that, she got raped by Poseidon, and so therefore her curse is unfair. And then it's actually kind of like a gift because now she can like protect herself, but it's also like unjust that like she got punished. So they
Yeah,
kind of like showed that, but then also kind of still made her like a monster that we knew from the books, which I think it kind of worked itself out because like obviously time has made her bitter, and so she kind of became what she wasn't,
that's right.
what she didn't want to be, um, and she gave them the chance to like be able to prove themselves, but I think
Yes.
she was just kind of like expecting much more from them. But obviously, like they're kids, and Annabeth's Annabeth, and Percy, like is not gonna choose turning his friends to stone to save his mom.
No,
Um,
no.
so I thought that was a very interesting take. Obviously it's a kids show, so they didn't obviously say the exact storyline, which made it a little confusing. But yeah, I think it was really good. So far I think it's my favorite episode.
All right.
Yeah, I think it's my favorite episode. Things that you liked, and then things that you didn't like.
Hmm. Things that I liked was I thought it was kind of funny how when Grover put on the flying shoes, he immediately floated up without fully working out the plan.
Okay, things you didn't like.
that was one thing that I liked. I liked how they all came to realize that they really should depend on each other. Grover gave a heartwarming and understandable speech that they really should
The
fight
song, oh
together.
my goodness, the song. It was so
This
cringy.
it was a nice way to kind of calm you down.
It came out of nowhere. Okay, what didn't you like? Did you not like anything?
Well, I didn't like the fact that the other Furies appeared out of nowhere. I mean,
Oh, okay. Well,
and
they
then
they come they come out.
it still wasn't cool or dramatic or
No,
whatnot.
it wasn't. It was kind of just like fast. It was more dramatic than the Mrs. Dodd scene in the beginning.
Yeah.
I'll give it that.
Okay, yeah, I'll give that credit.
Yeah.
Because Mrs. Dodd's scene was just boring, but this was pretty
Annabeth
good.
choosing all the candy was kind of funny. I didn't know exactly where we were going with that, but I was like, okay, she likes candy.
Yeah, somebody
Um,
obviously likes candy.
what did you think of Lin Manuel Miranda?
That was nice. Got to have
he
an appearance of Lin-Manuel Miranda.
he is our Hermes.
He is our Hermes.
Yeah. So I'm very happy about that. Obviously, I've talked about that, but that was Jordan's first like, it's it. She was like, what? So that was cool. Gabe being like the Oracle Miss thing was that
Interesting.
didn't happen in the book, right? I'm remembering that correctly, right?
I know that that
That
definitely was not in the
that
movie, but I don't
I don't think that was in the book.
yeah, I don't
It
think that
was
was in the
it
book
was
either.
funny, but it was weird. It was just like I expected something spooky, but nah. And then obviously him not quite. It would seem like he didn't trust Grover in the beginning because obviously it's one who you called a friend, would betray you.
Yeah.
And he has had his beef with Grover for the last 3 episodes in a way.
Yeah, so that would
Because
make sense.
not his beef. He hasn't been able to like fully trust Grover after what happened at Nancy, and then stuff just obviously keeps happening. And Grover is not the Grover from the books.
Hmm.
And he is a little bit more. I think he he stands up for himself. He stands up for his friends. But then he's also a little bit, like I said before, mysterious and everything. He's got stuff going on and everything, and he's kind of got a side to him that he kind of doesn't want people to know, and he like stays quiet about some things too.
Hmm.
So yeah,
That makes sense.
yeah. I think I get the sense that there's parts of himself that he doesn't really like, which obviously that kind of goes hand in hand with I think the Grover from the book. But he's not a scaredy cat. I think he's just kind of dealing with things.
Yeah, still kind of
And
working through.
we're kind of figuring out more about him. It's like it's a different perspective of Grover. I think he's just more um less scaredy cat, more in his head.
Yes.
But also more upfront, but then kind of not sometimes too, which is interesting. Um, Annabeth I think was a little bit meaner in this one,
Yeah,
uh,
a little
but
bit.
she felt more like Annabeth, which I kind of liked. The whole ultimatum with the Fury though, that was just like I was just sitting there and I was like, what is going on?
And
Like
why
the
is this
Fury should have
happening?
just attacked you, and they're over here talking and like making like a deal, but like not really. She's just like, obviously she didn't make the deal, but like it's like why are you just sitting there talking to the Fury? Um, so obviously, like that's kind of a red flag. There's little red flags here and there. Where it's like, can we trust them? And it's like, no, I love them. So yeah, that was the episode. I enjoyed it. I did enjoy it. I loved that like the basement like lit up and we got to see like Medusa's lair and stuff. It was
Yeah.
really cool. And then when they were like talking then down there like about their plan, they were being a little bit loud and echoey. So I wish they were kind of whispered. Also, Riptide, like in the forest when he took out Riptide. Riptide's a female, I think.
Oh
Um,
yeah, the sword.
yeah, I'm jumping the gun. They talked about it way later. Like in Magnus Chase, they say that Riptide's a female. So
Hmm.
yeah. So basically, uh, she turned in. I'm saying she. Riptide turned into like an actual sword. And not the glowy sword, which I was kind of confused about. But then in Medusa's lair, like Riptide turned into like the actual glowy sword, which gave Percy away. Which I was just like, what are we doing here? Just choose one, and we'll go with it.
Yeah, exactly.
Um. So yeah, I mean, if Riptide has that option, obviously, don't glow in like, but all right. So yeah, those are my thoughts. You
Hmm.
have any more thoughts?
So I have thoughts that are similar to those as well. So yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, so yeah, that was the episode. And
Episode 4 next week.
yeah, next week, January 2nd.
Yes.
Yes, so I'm excited. Yeah, thank you so much for watching. Hope to see you real soon. Bye bye.
Bye.
We're gonna do the solo part of my review. We got Mia here to join us. So I'm just gonna echo a lot of what I said. And I'm not gonna like repeat it, but maybe I'm gonna go a little bit more into depth with it. There are some things that I didn't mention. For instance, the whole like they realized it was Medusa's place right away. Um, was a little bit like I don't know. It was just kind of like, come on, like I know certain things aren't accurate to the book, but it's like for them to just realize things right away, it just doesn't really make sense because then like obviously they would know when a monster is there right away. They would like there's no element of surprise. And I think that's what this series is like lacking, that literally like they know what's going to happen, when it's going to happen, and it happens so quickly. And it's just like the monster scenes are what I am lacking right now. We have all the information of, the Greek mythology. We have all the characters. Like, we're going, along with the book pretty perfectly, except for like some small details that may be irking me in some ways because of like, there's some that I'm like okay with, but there's some like this where I'm just like, where are the monsters? Like, it's like that song from the musical. Have you seen the musical? It's like, where are the monsters? Or is it Fight All the Monsters? I don't know. It's where, just like, where are all the monsters? So yeah. And I I'm kind of now liking, as I'm reflecting later on, because I watched like it a while ago, and then I also watched it with my brother the day before, like, and I think the whole like watching it twice is kind of helping me like look at it in like different perspectives, and like making me like see things that I didn't before, which is great. And I do like agree that this was my favorite episode of all three so far. And there's only 8 episodes, and I'm just like, how are you going to cram all this into 8 episodes? We've already crammed so much into 3 episodes, and I'm realizing how much longer of a series this really needed to be. Can I help you? Um, which is weird because it's one book, and that's why like you expect one movie. So I don't know. I just feel like we don't put a lot of what we could into episodes, but we cram so much information without fully like getting to the point. Kind of feels like we're cherry picking. We're like, oh, Annabeth is watching you. Why is Annabeth watching me? She knows things. Um, Also, Chiron promised her a quest. Also this, also that. But all in different scenes, all in different times, and it's like the same questions over and over. I'm like, how many times do we have to answer this? There's some things where it's like we should know what they are. And there's other things that, like, yes, need explaining, but we don't need it in, like, little bunches all over the place, and it's a little overwhelming. Where it comes to, like, the monsters and the Greek gods and them explaining that, um, it's not really explained. But then, like, certain things about the plot, um, it's over explained, and I'm just a little frustrated with it. It's a good show. I agree it's a good show, but it's kind of weird in how it's doing that. Because obviously they know what these monsters are and everything, and now like the demigods can like, they're very hyper aware of them, and it's just like, no, they're not supposed to be hyper aware. They're supposed to be cautious. And then the whole phone scene, I thought like they were gonna mention how demigods can't use phones. Where's the ambrosia? Like that was a question that's been popping in my head. And the nectar, like I kind of missed that. And like the things that they're adding isn't bad. I mean, like in changing like kind of Grover's character, I'm okay with it, but it's getting kind of frustrating in how he's interacting with the other characters, which is what I was afraid of, because it doesn't have the same charisma and like vibe as before. But I'm eager to see how it works out, because I think this is a good development for Grover. And it's an interesting take on him, so we'll see. Um, but yeah, the monster scenes are lackluster. And then they're just bombarding us with too much information overload about just what is going on the screen. Um, but besides, like, educating us on Greek mythology, which is what this whole thing was about. And I think Percy being educated on Greek mythology is kind of doing us bad in that case. Because it's just like, oh, okay. And then they're just introducing characters left and right. It's like, I am Medusa. And it's like, yes, we know. We knew you were coming. we wanted this whole surprise thing, you know? And for people that, you know, are new to the series, like, we can see, like, that's Medusa. Like, you know, Medusa's more of the well known monsters. I'm sorry, I know you don't like it. She didn't like it either. I'm gonna put her in the living room right now. But like, it doesn't take a genius. You don't really need to introduce her right away. Like, I wanted the surprise element. I think it would have been fun even for like newbies, like, you know, to watch it. Yeah. I I like that Gabe is kind of more focal point in this series. He's not just kind of like tossed aside. Because, you know, he's around for a reason. And like in the books, like he's talked about a lot. But I like how they're making him something different in the movies and everything. But I really, really wanted that scene to be spooky and scary. That's why I loved the Oracle. And the jokes are not catching with me. They're just like the the Thalia joke is not like the pine cone. Like, it's just not vibing with me. It's just I they're adding stuff from the book that in like jokes from the book that like in certain times, and like it's just cringing. It's just like, and I feel like we're doing the book justice, but we're also trying too hard in a lot of different things and not trying hard enough in other things that we really should be. I'm still happy about Lin Manuel Miranda. I'm really happy about him. Um, and I kind of mentioned before, like, how he doesn't seem like he's hyping up the series, so I'm kind of concerned about that, if he like actually enjoyed his time there, or he actually like cares, and like how that will affect his performance, because I'm really looking forward to the casino episode. So yeah, those are my thoughts. Luke had more emotion in this episode. Uh, Overall, I'm like sitting here and I'm like, I like it because it's Percy. I like this episode because obviously there was more element, there was more dimension, there was more growth in the characters. Um, but we still got a long way to go. We still got a lot of trial and error. But I felt there was a little bit more to critique and a little bit more development in this episode, if that makes sense. There was definitely growth from the first two episodes, in terms of like their dynamics, and you know, like they didn't explain things too much. You know, it felt a little bit more focused on what was actually happening, which I enjoyed. Um, but it still kind of was there. And I I just feel like the Medusa like scene was always my favorite. So yeah, those are really my thoughts. And I'm just kind of a little torn. Um, but it's okay. Um, so yeah, those are my thoughts. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you all soon. Mia, say bye. Say bye. No, no, you look at the camera this way. Say bye. She's just like, leave me alone, mother. I want to go in the living room. Okay, bye.